Sutra of Complete Enlightenment. Chapter 11, the Bodhisattva of Universal Enlightenment. The Bodhisattva of Universal Enlightenment, who was in the assembly, rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, circled him thrice from the right, bowed down upon his knees, brought together his two palms with crossed fingers, and said, "World-honored one of great compassion, you have decisively expounded the illness of dhyana, about which the assembly had not heard before. Their minds are now cleansed and settled. World-honored one, in the period of the Dharma's termination, future living beings will gradually get too far away from the Buddha, and when Bhadras and Aryas live in seclusion, and when heretics win the day, whom should they seek to meet? On what Dharma should they rely? What line of conduct should they adopt? Of what illnesses should they rid themselves, and how should they develop their minds so that the blind can avoid falling into perverted views?" After saying this, he again made the same prostration and the same request for a second and third time. The world-honored one then said to the Bodhisattva of Universal Enlightenment, "Excellent, excellent! Virtuous man, it is good that you are able to ask the Tathagata about the method of practice that will bestow the fearless eyes of the Tao upon living beings in the period of the Dharma's termination, so that they can attain the stage of sainthood. Listen attentively to what I now tell you." The Bodhisattva of Universal Enlightenment was filled with joy upon hearing this. He and the assembly kept silent to hear the teaching. The Buddha said, "Virtuous man, in the period of the Dharma's termination, when future living beings develop a broad mind and seek instruction from learned masters so that they can practice self-cultivation correctly, they should call upon persons holding right views, whose minds do not abide in phenomena, who have no attachment to the states of Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, whose minds always dwell in purity and cleanness, although they appear in the midst of klesha, and who, although showing that they have mistakes and faults, always extol pure living and lead others away from undisciplined pursuits. If they seek such teachers, they will attain unexcelled complete enlightenment, or Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi." In the period of the Dharma's termination, when future living beings meet these enlightened masters, they should make offerings to and support them, even to the detriment of their personal lives. These masters always reveal their purity and cleanness in their four respect-inspiring forms of demeanor, in walking, standing, sitting, and lying. Even if they show mistakes and faults, students should not give rise to feelings of contempt and disrespect in their own minds. How much more so as regards these masters' ways of feeding, wealth, wives, children, and retinue. If students do not entertain evil thoughts of their masters, they will ultimately realize omniscience, or Sambodhi, and the flower of their wisdom will open and illumine all lands in the 10 directions of space. Virtuous man, the profound Dharma realized by these enlightened masters should be free from the 4 kinds of illness. What are these 4 illnesses? The first one is the illness of action. If a man, that is a teacher, says, quote, "I apply my mind to all kinds of action to seek complete enlightenment," close quote, this is an illness, because the nature of complete enlightenment cannot be attained by any action. The second one is the illness of letting alone. If a man, that is a teacher, says, quote, "I neither forsake samsara nor seek nirvana, because both have no rising or falling thoughts. I only let everything follow the Dharma nature," close quote. This is an illness, for in the search of complete enlightenment, its nature does not exist through letting things follow their course. The third one is the stopping illness. If a man, that is, a teacher, says, quote, "By stopping all thoughts in my mind forever, I realize the stillness and sameness of all natures," close quote. This is an illness, because in the search for complete enlightenment, the stopping of thoughts does not lead to union with the mind's nature. The fourth one is the illness of elimination. If a man, that is a teacher, says, quote, I now eliminate all kinds of klesha forever, and my body and mind are void, how much more so are sense organs, sense data, and all illusory states which are made permanently still, close quote. This is an illness, because the nature of complete enlightenment for which he is searching is not stillness. He who keeps from these four illnesses will know what purity and cleanness are. Introspection in this manner is right, whereas any other introspection is wrong. Virtuous man, future living beings in the period of the Dharma's termination, wishing to practice right conduct, should, during their whole lives, make offerings to and serve these learned masters. They should not give rise to feelings of contempt and disrespect when these masters come to them, and to feelings of anger and resentment when they leave them, because pleasant and unpleasant circumstances are like the void. Because the students should know that body and mind are fundamentally in the state of universality, and that all living beings are of the same substance. Only thus can he who so practices self-cultivation enter the state of complete enlightenment. Virtuous man, future living beings in the period of the Dharma's termination will be unable to realize the Tao, because since the time without beginning they possess all kinds of seeds of love and hate produced by their conception of selfness and otherness, which prevent their liberation. If a man regards his foes as he would his parents without a second thought, he will eliminate all illnesses forthwith. Likewise, love and hate, as well as self and others, will also be eliminated. Virtuous man, in their search for complete enlightenment, future living beings in the period of the Dharma's termination should thus develop their minds by saying, quote, I vow to lead all living beings within boundless space to the entrance into ultimate complete enlightenment, wherein there are no realizers of Bodhi, and wherein selfness and otherness, as well as all phenomena, are eradicated. Close quote. If they so develop their minds, they will not fall into heterodox views. To repeat his instruction, the world-honored one read the following gatha. Universal Bodhi, you should know that living beings in the Dharma ending age who seek enlightened masters should demand their correct views, avoiding men of Hinayana. Know that from all four illnesses the Dharma should be free, from action, stoppage, letting alone, and eradication. Show no arrogance when masters come, have no resentment when they leave. If advanced stages are witnessed, praise them for their rare occurrence, rare as a Buddha seen on earth. Break not the rules of discipline, your senses always must be clean. Lead all living beings to ultimate complete enlightenment. Selves and others being void, in right wisdom place your trust. Thus will you leap above deluded views, realizing Bodhi in parinirvana.